And yet, the hand-wringing and cocktail party speculation about an alternative to Joe Biden is continuing, will continue. Guess what? Joe Biden isn't perfect. No candidate is, by the way. But we have to understand what the alternative is here. If elected to a second term, Donald Trump would prosecute anyone he deems an enemy, unleash troops on protesters, and essentially unravel the rule of law as we know it. And this time, he plans to line his administration with people who will actually help him do it. But sure, Joe Biden is 3 years older and occasionally trips over things. Look, there's a lot to be concerned about right now when it comes to a second Trump term. The speeches are getting much more disturbing and much more unhinged, and we should all hear it that way. And yet, the hand-wringing and cocktail parties...
This is... I'm going to take it out just for 1 second. I don't know how to describe this as anything other than like borderline psychotic. It's borderline psychotic level delusions here. I will give Jen Psaki. No, I should say I initially was actually pronouncing her name Psaki, and then I was told it's a silent P. So I'll pronounce it properly because I'm not making fun of a name for the sake of it. I was initially, what was I about to say here about making fun of Jen Psaki? Oh no, Jen Psaki. I'll give her credit where credit's due. When you go on the internet and you can look in someone's eyes and sense a degree of confidence or lack of confidence, energy or fatigue. And I always say this, the eyes are the window to the soul, people. Hold on. Look at them. I got bags. I got a little grimace wrinkle right there, but the eyes are the window to the soul. And you can see when someone knows that they're lying. You can see when someone is lacking the requisite degree of energy to spout the lies that they lie. I'll give Jen Psaki credit. She hides it well, and she exudes energy with her eyes. Can you believe the load of verbal diarrhea that just came out of her mouth? It's so delusional. Accuse your enemies of doing what you are doing so as to create confusion. Lash out. What is it? Cry as you lash out. And confession through projection. All of it. These are all iterations of the same tactic. They are accusing their adversaries of doing exactly what they're doing in real time. They're accusing their adversaries of being who they are. And this actually seems to work on a large swath of the population. Let's go pick this apart one by one, because we'll do this while people slowly trickle in and while I realize what I've forgotten to do for today's show. Let's start from the beginning of this wonderful, I think it's called On the Inside with Jen Psaki, which is just just terrible name. I'm going to see what the name is of her show, because she's bought herself success for the rest of her life. This is the reward you get for being a Jen Psaki press secretary. This is what Karine Jean-Pierre has to look forward to after the years of humiliating herself, discrediting herself, building herself out as the biggest liar the White House has ever seen. She'll get her own show on whatever the hell MSNBC, NBC, CNN, whatever hell rubbish network is still left at the time. But listen to this.
And yet, the hand-wringing and cocktail party speculation about an alternative to Joe Biden is continuing. Will continue.
You know why? Because he's a demented old buffoon, and anybody with half a brain knows that. The only reason why people are not going to discuss his replacement is because he's still alive, he's got a beating heart, and he can walk, even if it's shuffling his feet, like a senile old man that has no idea where he is. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that because it's true. His last gaffe at the Remembrance Day event, I think. And it's not to make fun of. It's to assess reality. Oh, no, so long as he's got a beating heart and he's able to walk and occasionally piece together a sentence and then burst into frothing rage, they'll keep him there because he's a useful idiot in the White House, a compromised, useful idiot in the White House.
Guess what?
Guess what?
Joe Biden isn't perfect.
No shit Psaki. That's what they should call the show. No shit Psaki.
No candidate is, by the way.
Oh, thanks. News, breaking news. Nobody's perfect. You should have said nobody's perfect. It would have been even better.
But we have to understand what the alternative is here.
What's the alternative? Because the alternative suggests it's an alternative to that which does not already exist.
If elected to a second term, Donald Trump would prosecute anyone he deems an enemy.
Anybody watching this, and I'll say this judgmentally, Anyone watching Jen Psaki's show, unironically, is an idiot. He will, if he's elected, let me just hear the exact wording again.
Would prosecute anyone he deems an enemy.
He would prosecute anyone he deems an enemy. The same way Biden's DOJ went after Steve Bannon, every single one of the January 6ers, Owen Schroyer, Donald Trump, Eastman, I can't remember all of the other lawyers, Jenna Ellis, Giuliani, Sidney Powell. I can't remember all the other names. 18 lawyers and allies or members of Trump's campaign. They went after Carter Page with bullshit, fabricated, falsified evidence. But no. You got to worry about Trump, because if he gets elected, he might do what we are doing right now to prevent him from getting elected. Psaki, you're psycho. It's got to be Psycho Psaki. Psycho Psaki. We can we can make a thread. I'll make a type of alcohol. It'll be called sake after Jen Psaki, and I'll call it Psycho Psaki. You drink the Psycho Psaki, it makes you go psycho. He might do, if he gets elected, what is currently being done to him to prevent him from getting elected, but this time he might have learned his lesson to rid his administration of deep state rot. He might actually learn that he's got to fire everyone, clean house, to get people in his administration who are actually going to work with him and not secretly work against him while he's in office. Secretly work against him? The FBI falsifying evidence to fabricate the Russia collusion hoax. The General Milley lying about how many troops are left in Syria. General Milley lying about trying to start a war with Iran. Now he's learned. You got to clean house and put your own members in there. Trusted people. You can't rely on the deep state. He might have learned his lesson the first time. If he gets elected, he might do exactly what Joe Biden's White House is doing right now.
Unleash troops on protesters.
Unleash troops on protesters. Unleash troops on protesters. You mean like the weaponized DOJ or whatever, I don't even know who, FBI, that is unleashed on the January 6th protesters? Is that what you mean? You certainly don't mean the Summer of Love BLM protests, because nobody sicked police on them. I'm sure community members would have liked it. No, he's going to sick. What does she say here? I got to make sure I get the wordings right.
Unleash troops on protesters.
Unleash troops on protesters. Kind of like exactly what you've been doing Biden's presidency since January 7, 2021. What else does she say here?
And essentially unravel the rule of law as we know it.
Essentially unravel the rule of law as we know it, as they persecute Trump in New York State to disgorge him of $250 million for a victimless alleged fraud that banks profited from, as they try to frame him on bullcrap sexual battery convictions in front of a New York jury, as they try to frame him again in New York. By the way, this is the holy trifecta in New York. Alvin Bragg, hush money payments, as they try to remove him from the ballot in Colorado, as they try to lock him up in DC, as they try to lock him up in Florida, as they try to lock him and 18 other members of his administration or who helped him in Georgia. Oh yeah. No, it's Trump who's the threat to democracy.
And this time, he plans to line his administration with people who will actually help him do it.
From your mouth to God's ears, Jen.
But sure, Joe Biden is 3 years older and occasionally trips over things.
He's just a bumbling old man. He's not weaponizing everything. He's not a compromised old man who's indebted to China, Ukraine, other corrupt Eastern European countries. He's not a man who accidentally paid a pimp for his son's hookers. He didn't do that. Oh, wait a minute. He did do that. And he's the one prosecuting everybody. But he's just a crazy old cotter who falls over steps every now and again. Ooh, don't blame me. It's my first day.
Look, there's a lot to be concerned about right now when it comes to a second Trump term. The speeches are getting much more disturbing and much more unhinged, and we should all hear it that way.
Oh, we should all hear it that way. That's the dog whistle. Whether he says peaceful, we should hear it as violence. But when Joe Biden gets up there with his crimson, what was it called? The Crimson Tide speech? Extreme MAGA Republican extremists, the greatest threat to democracy. Oh, no. His speech is it's all beautiful. When he says that, when he froths at the mouth like a veritable modern day dictator, it's with peace and love that he does it. And when Trump says protest peacefully and patriotically, we're on the side of law and order, that's a dog whistle to the extreme right. Psychotic. Psycho Psaki. Hashtag psycho. Oh, and they're both silent P's. It's Psycho Psaki, people. Clip, snip, make it trend. Is that how this works in the world? Psycho Psaki, 2 silent P's. Oh, I've done it. I've done it. All right. I should have made sure before 10 minutes of that crazy rant. Is anybody still here? Let me just make sure that we're currently live across all platforms. Okay, we are. I see my crazy mug on Rumble. Are we on? Okay, we're alive on vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Oh my goodness. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. I gotta click. This stream contains a paid promotion. Okay. This stream contains a paid promotion. Save. So I've done 10 minutes of ranting and raving. And it's gonna make me tired. And it's a good thing. No joke. It's a good thing I have actually the best sheets ever. This is almost like an unnatural segue because it's so natural. I asked my wife if we could take a picture of our bed, and she said, "Are you out of your mind, Viva?" She started calling me Viva in the house. She's like, "You can't take a picture of our bed. The dog sleeps on our bed. The dog is not the cleanest thing on earth. We've got Cozy Earth sheets on our bed." I'll tell you this. They're amazing, period. Cozy Earth, for those of you who've never heard of it, its mission is to help you find sanctuary in your daily life. We'll see if we're there yet. All that I know is that it's found comfort in my sleeping life. The luxury bedding and the loungewear transforms lives by offering the softest, most luxurious, and responsibly sourced products in the world. It's made with something I had to check how you pronounce it. It's called viscose from bamboo. It's temperature regulating, only gets softer with every wash, although I have not known that yet because I don't know how many times we've washed it, but I haven't washed it enough to see if it's getting softer. I don't know how much softer it can get. Sensitive, skin friendly, available in 13 colors. The amazing thing about the product, other than it's actually amazing, and when you sleep on good sheets and beautiful sheets, you'll know it for the first time. But the amazing thing is if you don't, for whatever the reason, are not happy, returned within 100 days, and I called just to make sure. You can use them, you can wash them, you can return them. If you're not happy, within 100 days, and you'll get a full refund. 10-year warranty. And I'll tell you in 10 years if I don't choose to buy another pair of sheets regardless. They're amazing. Now, I don't happen to sleep in pajamas, but they don't only make bed sheets. Whether it's life-changing luxury pajamas, soft bedding, loungewear, plush, bath towels, you'll love shopping. CozyEarth.com, by the way, put in the promo code VIVA. You'll get up to 40% off depending on what you order. So that's it. Holiday season is coming up, everybody. Go over to Cozy with a Z or Z, depending on how you pronounce it, you crazy Americans. It's CozyEarth.com. Promo code VIVA, up to 40% off. The link is in the description. And just look at that. Hold on. Let me go to the thing here and just look at this. I learned another word as I was looking through this. Pillowcases. I learned a word for something that I had never heard of before. Let me see. Go down all the way here. Whatever. I can't find. Bamboo sheet. Viscose. And then some stuff for people who, have babies. Crib sheets. All right. CozyEarth with a Z.com. Promo code VIVA. Okay. I'm still mind blown. There are people out on this earth who listen to Jen Psaki and say, "Oh my goodness, that would be disastrous if Trump gets reelected." She wears color contacts. She's a weirdo, says Mr. Anderson. Oh, yeah, by the way, sorry, I forgot the standard disclaimers. No medical advice, no election fortification advice, no legal advice, though I will rail against everything that irritates me. And I was going to take the day off. I've put the podcast from yesterday. I put yesterday's live stream into podcast format. You can get it on Podbean. It's called Viva and Barnes Law for the People. It's on Podbean. And I'll link that on Twitter. So I put that into the podcast, cut a couple of clips. I'm going to cut some more clips. And I said I'd take the day off, but then I saw something that made me angry. And I said, instead of internalizing it, which I've already done, we'll see if that ulcer... I don't have an ulcer, I'm joking. I said, instead of internalizing it, which I've already done, I'm going to externalize it, and it will make me feel better, and hopefully it'll make all of you feel better. And then there's some stories that I wanted to get to, read through the Stefanik complaint about Judge Engoron, and some other stuff that I want to get to. But before we even get into that, let me just see what's going on in the chat here. Chris Wallace was correct. Psaki was the best press secretary ever. Spewer of propaganda, Goebbels would be proud. I mean, now I'm thinking, how much better were Trump's press secretaries? Kylie, I forget her name. Sean Spicer. I love Sean Spicer. I mean, Sean Spicer is another guy. He's got natural energy in his eyes. He still loves what he does. Jen Psaki, she's a good actor, or maybe she does, but she's making okay, whatever. Now, so you get us fired up too. That's it. I mean, look, we will all get fired up together, and then we will find the solution, which is going to be just taking whoever watches Jen Psaki, and you shake him by the shoulders and you say, what the hell are you doing? Do you not know that these are pathological lies? And I have the receipts to prove it. Okay, it doesn't matter. So, Psaki done. We're done. We're done with Psycho Psaki. There was another clip I was going to start the show with. It's not long enough to start the show with. Actually, hold on. Before we even get there, I'm going to put a poll up in YouTube before we head over to Rumble. We start on YouTube, for those of you who don't know. Oh, first of all, Viva Frei, Montreal litigator turned Florida Rumbler. We start on YouTube, Rumble, and vivabarneslaw.locals.com. We leave YouTube because it's not a true free speech platform. It's censorship, soft and hard. Govern me harder, daddy. And then we go over to Rumble for the free speech platform, and because they deserve our presence as content creators and as consumers of information. Then when we're done on Rumble with the day stream, I go over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com for a little after party with our locals community. I'm going to put up a poll, and the question is going to be this. Oh God, I just heard Jen Psaki again. Do I start the show with one of those 5-minute countdowns? I don't know how it works. Engage with your audience. Start a poll. Do I start show? Should I? Not do I, because I don't. Should I start shows with a 5-minute countdown timer? Yes, no, start poll. I've seen the way I'm not trying to copy, I'm just trying to improve. I've seen the way the quartering does it. I've seen other people do it. I don't know what good it is other than it gives people 5 minutes to come in, but if everybody knows it's 5 minutes of countdown, you'll have the same trickle in afterwards. Or do I just keep starting with the psychotic, unhinged rants and raves against the world as we know it? So I'll go back to that poll before we end here. It says, only if you actually start on time, unlike Jimmy Dore. Okay, that's from... the countdown is crap. Okay, 1 minute tops. Yeah, I've seen some that are long, and that seems too long. Now, I wanted to start the show with, and everybody, you stay tuned. Like I've been messaging people and getting, in discussion with people who are going to come on for interviews. Fingers crossed. This is one that I would love to have come on the show. All right. Now, it's a long description from Colin Rugg. If you don't know who Colin Rugg is, co-owner of Trending Politics, Investor American, and he's got either he's got a picture of, or he's got the actual flipping amazing Musk car, whatever that thing that's called. Okay, professional boxer, professional MMA fighter King Bao _King Bao, that's BAU for those who are listening on podcasts, came out to his bare knuckle MMA fight wearing a shirt that read, Trump was indicted before anyone on Epstein's client list. I guess this does segue perfectly from Jen Psaki, Psycho Psaki. The bare knuckle, by the way. I got one of those Century Bob body torso kicking things, so I'm kicking and doing short elbows and punching. The idea of bare knuckling someone to the face as a sport, I mean, it's no judgment. It's amazing. It's just not something I could ever conceive of. At least someone isn't afraid to call out the justice system. Epstein's client list continues to be kept secret as Washington politicians and I'm still reading Colin Rugg's tweet here, the justice system seem not to have any urgency in delivering justice to America's most elite potato files. Republican Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn is currently trying to get the Senate Judiciary Committee to issue a subpoena for Epstein flight logs. A subpoena to Jeffrey Epstein's estate to provide the flight logs for his private plane, given the numerous allegations of human... Are they allegations of human trafficking anymore now that we've had a conviction? I thought it was... They're no longer allegations, it's proven fact. The only question is, who the hell were they trafficking people to? It was not a clientless business for which Epstein and... Ghislaine Maxwell got convicted, but what do I know? I'm just a schnook lawyer with half a functioning brain. We've got to identify who could... Winston, stop that. Who could have participated in his horrific conduct, she said this week. And then we've got _King Bao, badass extraordinaire, coming out.
He thinks about the world differently, sees it through a different perspective, a different lens, and so he fights through a completely different lens too.
That announcer, by the way, is Robin Black MMA, who we were scheduled to do a stream and it didn't work out. Robin, I'm coming back for you. We got to do our live in-person interview. But listen to this.
He thinks about the world differently, he sees it through a different perspective, a different lens, and so he fights through a completely different lens too.
That is a damn good-looking man right there, by the way. Chiseled. And he's getting ready to punch someone in the face with his bare knuckles until one of them submits or goes unconscious. Nothing left to the imagination there. No, there is, because that's with the cup over it. It's bare knuckles, not bare groin, so he's got a cup. I can't say that I didn't notice the same thing. He's got a cup covering it. So it's bare knuckles, but no, straight to the balls. Dude's wearing a shirt that says they indicted Trump before they released Epstein's client list. And you know how I know I would wager dollars to donuts that Trump is not on that list? If Trump were on Epstein's client list, it would have been leaked already. I made the joke, like, I don't know when it was, a few days ago. How the hell has that not been leaked? Can you imagine a world in which Steven Crowder gets a leaked copy of Epstein's client list? I thought they had the flight log. I don't know if the flight log is the client list. I don't think those two things are necessarily interchangeable. The dog is scratching his ear. Okay, he stopped. I don't know if those two things are necessarily interchangeable. But I thought they had the log, and that's how they knew that Clinton flew over a dozen times without Secret Service to Epstein's Island. I thought that's how they knew that. Hold on, actually, now that I say this out loud. Clinton back massage. There's always this famous image that they don't want you looking at, eh? Do you remember this one? Clinton getting a back massage. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that face too. Holy crab apples. We all know who's in the picture, but look at that face on Clinton. How do I zoom in? Oh, there we go, like that. Look at that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Look, that face is demonic. Okay, well that was the short intro that I didn't do. Okay. Moving on. While we're still on YouTube, why not let's just finish the holy trifecta of the We'll end on this, and then we're going to go on over to Rumble, where we're going to talk about those God-forsaken liars in the Canadian Liberal Party. God-forsaken liars. You know what? Talking about accusing your enemies of doing what you're doing so as to create confusion. Talk about confession through projection. God-forsaken liars. And I know that as I say these things, that I call them God-forsaken liars, it must mean that I'm a God-forsaken liar. Hashtag confession through projection. I'm not stupid, people. And I like to do an occasional audit on the interwebs where someone tells me anything that I've ever said that was false or wrong, that I knew was false or wrong or made aware of afterwards that I did not correct. I make mistakes, but they are certainly not mistakes of being caught lying, because I have a morbid fear of lying and would not lie even if I thought I could get away with it. So when I call people pathological liars, narcissists, it's not because I am. I actually suffer from what is known as hot empathy, which is quite the opposite of psychopathy, but it doesn't matter. Liars, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to, I want to say Gwen Stefanik, but it's not. It's Stephanie. It's Stefanik's, I forget her first name now, complaint against Judge Engoron, who, demonstrable pervert, demonstrable politically biased judicial hack. His wife is now a demonstrable participant in the corruption, and his son allegedly. We'll get there. Then we're going to talk about the vigilante or hero. It all depends on who you ask. And a couple more things. Oh, Elise Stefanik. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be disrespectful at all. But before we get there, one last wonderful... By the way, the link to Rumble is in the top there, but I'll get it in a second. One last... I'm not a partisan hack. I can make fun... I can poke fun at everyone who deserves it. This was... what's her name again? The chair... I want to say Ronda Rousey, but I know it's not Ronda Rousey. I'll get her name when we watch it here. Let's watch.
Hey, Ronna, thanks so much for being with
us.
McDaniel.
Ronna McDaniel, not Ronda Rousey. Okay, let's watch this.
All right, joining me now, Ronna McDaniel, chairwoman of the Republican National Committee. Ronna, thanks so much for being with us.
By the way, context is important. This was the day after Vivek literally broke her heart in half at the most publicized, I would say international, but at the very least on a national scale, literally shredded her heart, her dignity. I mean, it was humiliating. The only question is, was it deservedly so? That depends on who you ask, and it seems by the sounds of it, everyone believes it's deservedly so.
Nick and others are saying that under your leadership, Republicans have lost election
after election,
and positing the question, why should you retain your job given the track record of the party under your leadership? And to that, what do you say?
Well, first, I'm going to continue to focus on Joe Biden and Democrats. And I think there was a moment missed last.
Am I projecting, or does she look absolutely devastated? And I'm not saying this because she's a woman, everybody, period. She looks like she's struggling not to cry. And I would have said that for whom I've said it for everybody. So don't anyone make stupid accusations. She looks like she's struggling not to cry.
During that debate by Vivek, to talk about the fact that we still have 13 American hostages in Israel, the fact that for the first time ever in the history of either party, we had a Jewish co-sponsor for a debate, and we are in very perilous times in our country. And I do think Republican voters, and I hear
deflection and identity politics, both of which I find ugly.
This echoed all the time, are tired of the circular firing squad within our party. And
we're tired of the circular firing squad. Don't pick on me. Don't pick on my errors. It's not, the funny thing is accountability and circular firing squad, two sides of the same coin, depending on who's looking at it.
Saying, can we please talk about Joe Biden and the Democrats and the border and fentanyl and crime and what's happening to our kids and inflation? But I'll definitely defend my record as chair. Listen,
yeah, I mean, Ron,
do
I agree with you. Let me just say, I mean, all that you just said, I couldn't agree with more.
But answer the question.
And you're right. I mean, obviously that should be a key focus. But I know you believe in it.
Okay, I don't have the baseline. I don't know what Ronna McDaniel looked like before having her heart publicly destroyed. I don't know if she always looks like this. She looks like she's struggling not to cry. But I might be projecting how I would feel had I been the object of Vivek's utterly devastating and arguably totally accurate assessment.
Accountability, you talk about it all the time. I mean, everyone. I mean, I'm accountable. So you're right.
Some accountability.
Okay, that's what I asked you, and you went into another, another
I was going to
conversation.
go there. Sorry, I took too long on the answer, but I was getting there. I'm not trying to avoid anything. Let me promise you that, Laura.
But I'm not trying to avoid anything.
Listen, when Vivek didn't vote in 2016.
I'm not trying to avoid anything. Who's she talking to? I'm bad with names, everybody. Oh, Laura Ingraham. I'm not trying to avoid anything, but Vivek didn't vote in 2016.
Long on the answer, but I was getting there. I'm not trying to avoid anything. Let me promise
you
that,
Vivek didn't vote. He didn't vote.
When Vivek didn't vote in 2016, I was leading Michigan to the first win in history in 30 years. In 2018, we defied the odds. We got 3 senators, people like Josh Hawley, that allowed President Trump to build the largest conservative majority on the Supreme Court. In 2022, the RNC, which is a turnout machine, right? We're not the messengers. We don't create the messages for the campaigns. Those are the consultants who get very, very well paid.
Well, one of the things, Ronna, that happened was, I think in Virginia, people were wondering where the money was, whether they were going to get some help from the RNC. And I know at one point you said that you were not asked for money in Virginia, but a Republican source familiar with the Youngkin team in Virginia told the angle.
When you bear in mind that on these televised shows, when you only have like 5 minutes in between ads, in between 4-minute pharma ads, if you're watching Fox News, I mean, you don't have very much time to waste. We're 2.5 minutes into this 3.5-minute bit. She still hasn't answered the question. The pharma ads on Fox News are insufferable, but that would explain why they seem to be indebted or beholden to someone other than the truth. But let's just keep going here.
Late tonight that is false. And meaning your story keeps changing. Anyone who thinks Virginia Republicans wouldn't want help when we knew we'd be outspent isn't being serious. Ronna, they were outspent by $8 million.
Glenn Youngkin did a phenomenal job, and he raised.
Let me not answer your question a third time.
Raised a lot of money. A lot of people don't understand fundraising. I can't raise state dollars. I don't get unlimited convention and state dollars. And these were state House and state Senate races. The RNC is a federal committee. So, I mean, come on. Can you just...
Come on. Come on. Now, I don't know exactly how the argument works, that they're a federal entity, so they can't provide fundraising dollars to state election. I don't know. Might want to ask Barnes that either on Twitter or later, but come on. It's literally the Peter Griffin, come on, leave me alone, move on to the next question.
These are people who come after me all the time. They're on Twitter, they're all the time. And let's see their results. What did they do in Virginia? How much money did they give? But let me stand by something else.
What is it?
In 2022, we took back the House. And the RNC's part...
Rana, we're done. We're done. Okay, you had 3 minutes. You've said nothing but verbal diarrhea the entire time.
We're building the road. And we're launching Bank Your Vote. We've got to do that.
Rana, we got to roll, but thank you for joining us tonight. We have a lot more to get to next.
Yep, thanks. That was useless, and now you're gone. Oh, my goodness, that's funny. Rhino Rhonda. Is it Rana or Rhonda? Anyhow, whatever. I'm still thinking of Ronda Rousey, but come on, man. Come on, man. No, it's the Family Guy. There was a whole like when he was trying to convince someone to do something. I forget what it was. It was back when Family Guy was funny. Come on. Oh, you know what's going to irritate me? That I can't see the clock behind me. What's the point of having it preset? Who in this house? I think it's one of the children. Whatever, it's 1331 people. If I want to push it a little more this way. There we go. It's got to see what time we got to see what time it is. Now it's going to track my face. No, it's not. All right, what we're going to do right now, we've had fun on YouTube, and this is as much as they deserve and as much as we're going to give them. Anybody watching, come on over to Rumble, Viva Frei on Rumble, or locals, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Although I will, as I always do, or virtually always do, post the entire stream tomorrow. YouTube gets the leftovers. Rumble gets the live action time. What was I doing? I was doing this, and then I was ending there, but hold on. You know what I'm going to do? Right before we leave. I can't believe I'm such an idiot. I keep forgetting to mention, if you want merch, and some of the best merch ever. You want a mugshot shot glass? You got one here. You want a mugshot shirt? You want a mugshot coffee mug? You got one there. And you got some apolitical stuff just in case you don't want to walk around with Donald Trump's face on your chest. Not a friendly world out there. So vivafrei.com for merch. And now we end, and we're going to go on to the main stories of the day over on Rumble.